Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us for Access City Council. I'm your host, David Riggleman, Communications Director for the City of Las Vegas. Coming up on this show, the largest road construction project in Nevada history, Project Neon, comes to a close, thank goodness. And UNLV begins construction on a new medical education building right in the heart of the city. The councilman who represents Ward 1, Councilman Brian Knudsen, joins us now. Welcome. You're an old veteran of this show. Number 2, show 2.
I've been here 6 weeks, David, and again, I said last time it feels like home. Now I've been home for a while. I felt very comfortable.
Good to have you back. It is kind of like coming home for you because a former city employee, you've kind of come full circle, and now you're on the city council representing your community.
And it's been wonderful to rekindle relationships with city staff that I've had for years. And obviously I'm in a different role now, but it's very comfortable to talk about the future of Las Vegas and talk about my role in representing Ward 1 and working with city staff to bring about the best future. It's great.
It's kind of like coming back to family.
Exactly.
I know exactly what you mean. So, Councilman, you know Ward 1 very well. You've campaigned hard there, you've worked hard there, you live there. For those of you out there that don't know where Ward 1 is exactly, well, we're going to show you. It is right in the heart of the valley, of course, appropriately enough with the big 1 on it there. But your area encompasses really the area just west of the downtown. Our medical district, we're going to talk about that today, kind of runs along the south side of US 95, but then has a part that kind of swings to the north all the way up to Cheyenne. But anyway, if you live in that area or work in the area that's on the screen, that is Ward 1. It's in the city limits of the city of Las Vegas, and you are represented now, 6 weeks into the job, by Mr. Brian Knudsen. So
it's a big ward. It's very diverse. And I like to talk about it in terms of there's some real challenges. There's some intense poverty within the ward. There's also extreme wealth in the ward.
Right.
And bringing about a confluence of interests, I think is my job to do, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to spend so much time with the people in Ward 1.
So well said. That is a perfect synopsis of what Ward 1 is all about. Exactly. Well, I love this. You're active on social media, and you posted this on Facebook. You said, congratulations to the Nevada Department of Transportation on the grand finale of Project Neon. Oh my gosh, this project was 3 years in the making. Anybody who commutes anywhere near the downtown, you know what this entailed. But it's done now. We've finally seen the end of it, and it's nice.
I am so grateful that it's done with. I live about maybe a half a mile from Charleston and where the major construction area was. And if you remember, 5 years ago, there was doing construction along the 95.
Right.
So it feels like that area has been under construction for almost 10 years now. And the neighbors and myself are just incredibly grateful that it's over. And it's beautiful. They did a really good job. The artwork around the Project Neon is amazing. The lanes are wider, and there's definitely less congestion. So
no question.
On behalf of myself and my family and everyone in my neighborhood, we are just grateful that it's done. Thank you to the NDOT.
Yeah, exactly. You know, their vision, and I'm sure the project at times we kind of wondered what is going on here, because the lanes would move here and shift there, and then things would be closed. But obviously there was a method to their madness. They really brought it together at the end, and it's nice. You can really get around. The I-15 corridor is such a huge improvement now, too, where 95 and 15 come together. That was such a bottleneck before. Much improved. So
and the NDOT director, Christina Swallow, was mentioning that there was at least 2 or 3 accidents a day before the construction started. And so I think from overall our job is to make sure that the community is safe, and I think the Project Neon is one of those big steps forward in protecting our residents.
Yeah, no question about it. And Christina Swallow, NDOT director, former city employee too. So you guys are a good. She's in good company with all.
And also a Ward 1 resident.
A Ward 1 resident too.
Yes.
Exactly right. She and her husband David. That's right. Councilman, speaking of Ward 1 and projects, want to talk about this. The old Fletcher Jones Chevrolet dealership site. It's on Decatur between Alta and Meadows Lane. Anybody who's been here any length of time remembers the old Chevy dealership there. It's been vacant years and years now. Maybe a project coming there, sounds like. We may get some housing on that tract versus just having it sit empty.
Yeah, well, I can tell you it's a proposal, David. There's the developer that has asked the city for support in developing a project, both on the Decatur side and on the Meadow side.
Gotcha.
There is some controversy associated with it, especially with the surrounding neighborhoods. There's some senior citizen populations that are afraid of some children coming into the area and maybe upsetting the balance that's there now. I have to put on the record, I was a CEO of the Boys and Girls Clubs, and I worked really closely with the developer in surrounding neighborhoods. It's a very good developer. I think it's a good idea, but my job is to listen to the residents and figure out what is making them anxious and do my very best to represent the neighbors, and especially as I work with the developer and the rest of the city council to make sure that whatever happens on that land is representative of the community and serves the best interests of our city.
Finding that balance of what's going to work. Because the idea, at least the proposal, is to put low-income housing, or I guess that's probably not a good word.
I think it's attainable housing.
Attainable housing,
it's
exactly.
Workforce and attainable housing.
Exactly. So people who have a job, have work, but aren't necessarily making a tremendous amount of money can still afford a nice place to live. And the development would be geared towards seniors and families. So I think that's the issue, is that there would be a lot of kids that would be introduced into the area that currently obviously are not there now.
And that's correct. And the proposal is for one section of the land to be for seniors and mixed use with retail along Decatur. The retail is desperately needed along Decatur.
Right.
And we have 60,000 people in the senior community that are waiting for housing. So it's a desperate need for the senior housing. On the multifamily side, before we talk about low income or affordable or attainable housing, the standards are about $45,000. That is a teacher. And so I want to make sure that our teachers in our community have a place to live.
Exactly.
And I think I have a role in making sure that we talk about what is attainable or workforce or affordable housing. It's been referred to as low-income housing, but we all know somebody who makes around $45,000 a year. Those are the folks who are going to need housing, and that's what the proposal is on this project.
Yeah, and I think the term attainable is really more appropriate. Absolutely. Council, I want to talk about this too. The homeless courtyard, and we're trying to help that segment of the population here in Las Vegas. Is 2 years old. We've just celebrated. It'll be a 2-year anniversary this month in August. So.
And that is, there's a lot of opportunity with the homeless courtyard. It's the biggest challenge I think that our entire community faces. It's not just the city of Las Vegas. It's not Henderson or North Las Vegas or the county. It's all of us together.
That's so true.
And it's our businesses in the downtown corridor that are really struggling with homeless. And some of those homeless folks are ending up in Ward 1. Right now I'm dealing with, especially with the NDOT project, with homeless folks ending up underneath the overpasses.
Right.
And so I think as a city, we need to work very, very hard with our nonprofit partners, with the state, the county, other cities, on identifying challenges. The fact that the homeless courtyard has been around for 2 years is a testament to the city's investment in leadership around that space. There's a lot more work to do.
Yeah, and you know what? I think you hit on something so key. There's a fallacy that the homeless people are only in the downtown area. Couldn't be farther from the truth. Homeless folks are now all across the valley. They're in all the city's wards. They're in all the different segments of the county, North Las Vegas, and in Henderson as well. So this is clearly, as you're saying, this is a regional issue that we need to work together to solve, because by ourselves, not going to happen. In fact, the legislature in this last session has basically said, Southern Nevada, you guys need to work collectively together to remedy this problem.
Correct. And I know in our last conversation on Access City Council, we had Commissioner Justin Jones on. And that was one of the topics then. I think it's going to be a topic for several years to come.
No question.
But our relationship with the county is really important as we move forward in these conversations, especially as we talk about more housing and the systems that support those individuals who are affected by homelessness, so they can come out of homelessness and be productive members of society.
Exactly. Get them off that, break that cycle that just keeps so many of them on the street and living in very dangerous conditions. Councilman, shifting gears, school. Where did the summer go? Man, that one went by really fast. It's back to school time. You posted this on Facebook. You said, Councilman Knudsen welcomes reInvent Schools professionals back to school this morning, and this is really great. You had an opportunity to talk to all these folks to kind of help kick off the school year. And Councilman, for people that don't know, explain what reInvent Schools is to our listeners right now, our viewers.
And David, I'm so proud of what the city is doing in education. As you know, when I was a city employee, I spent a lot of time focused on education. And really the city's role in making sure that children and educators are successful. So reInvent Schools is about putting caring, loving adults into the school sites to make sure that our students are showing up to school on time, that they're in school ready to learn, making sure that their families have the supportive services they need in order to make sure those children are in school and ready to learn. And it's a partnership with the school district.
Exactly.
So that morning, I was allowed 4 minutes to speak, because it's not about me, it's not about the elected official. But in my 4 minutes, I gave up a minute to ask the audience their thoughts around who was the one person in their life that they remember in their education system that had the greatest influence on their life. And I can tell you, for everyone who's watching right now, they should be thinking about who was that one person that you remember that just changed the outcome of your life. And every person in that room, when we're launching Reinvent Schools, has the opportunity to be remembered forever.
To be that person for
Education
someone else,
is the equalizer. We can talk about homelessness, we can talk about housing, but if we educate children, their future is so much brighter. And it just takes one adult to care about a child for them to be successful the rest of their lives.
And Councilman, when you continue that logic, if their lives are better, the community's better, and the quality of life in Southern Nevada is better. So we're all in this together in that type of thing. So it's exciting. It's a great program. People need to understand the city's not trying to take over the school district or run the school district. We're just trying to help where they need help, and that's what that's really all about. So
yes, we are all in this together, and every student needs a community to help them be successful. That is our role.
All right. Well, great job. Well, Councilman, we're going to take a short break here, but when we come back, UNLV moves forward with plans to build a new medical education building right in the heart of the medical district in Ward 1. That's coming up next, so please stay with us.
Drop that baby.
Welcome back, everyone. The medical district near downtown is expanding, and now we'll have a brand new medical education building for the students attending UNLV. Associate Vice President of Planning and Construction for UNLV, Mr. David Fromer, is with us today to discuss the plans for the new building. David, thanks so much for being with us. This is exciting. This is one of the linchpins of Councilman Knudsen's ward, the medical district. So the plans for UNLV and how it all fits into the overall scheme, it's exciting, isn't it?
I can't wait, and this is the one thing that I talked about on the campaign the most is healthcare in our community. I don't know if you know this, but I'm on the medical school admissions committee, so I get to see hundreds of applications for medical school, and I get to be part of the process that picks who goes into medical school here. It's one of the things I'm most proud of, and thinking about where those students are going to be educated right in the heart of Ward 1 is really a proud moment for me. So I'm super excited to have David on with us to talk about his vision for the medical school and really, again, what is our role in making sure that the medical school is successful?
David, great to have you on the show. Of course, if you're going to have a medical school, you have to have a building to have the classes taught. And so enter you and your team. You're designing, working on the buildings themselves. I think we know that the medical school, we've seen renditions of the building itself, but there's a lot more that's coming to that campus, isn't there?
Absolutely. You know, our current vision is to build a medical education building. We have a currently operating medical school with 60 students per year. Our goals are to expand that to 120 students per year, add more capacity to the training and the education, helping build the medical industry. But that site, the 9-acre site that we acquired in partnership, a great partner in Clark County, we see a lot of future opportunity for expansion there, be it expanded medical education or other health sciences. So it's a huge opportunity with some great partners.
The city has been really working on the medical district for several years now. In fact, when I was a city employee, it was one of the last things that I did is meet with the hospitals talking about what the future of the medical district would look like. The city did a survey about 5 years ago, and in the surrounding areas where they're going to be most impacted by medical school, 86% of the residents, the people who participated in a survey, recognize the need for more access and more quality of health care in Nevada. This is a very proactive step to making sure that we meet the needs of those residents of greater access and higher quality of health care in Nevada. The medical school is the first step.
Yeah. How does the medical education building fit with the medical school? Why do you need two things?
Well, it's really their home, their place where they educate students, where faculty engage with students in terms of training education. So currently the 60-person medical school resides at our Shadow Lane campus just south on Charleston. The intent is to move the medical school and their core education training programs over to the new building at 625 Shadow Lane, the new site, and to expand the program and create kind of a ground-up home that's designed for the training education of medical students, building the capacity in the community. And one of the cornerstones of the building is not only building something functional for the medical school, but something that really connects to the community and creates access and creates kind of another point of energy for the Las Vegas Medical District and its growth.
I have to ask you, you're an architect by trade.
Yes.
designing a medical school and medical buildings to go with it, probably something you don't do frequently in your career, I wouldn't think, but because they don't come along all that often. So what are some of the challenges that you face to tie all of the key components together?
Well, great question. This is not a common project, and we're doing it from ground up. We've brought in a lot of very good experts who have a lot of international and national experience in medical schools. It's really very much a partnership. It's a partnership between external entities, folks like the City of Las Vegas, Clark County, UMC, the folks who are very interested in the success of the school, and then the internal parties. We have a very broad-ranging faculty who deal with clinical training and clinical skills and anatomy and different aspects of what a medical student needs to learn. So you're bringing all those groups together to make sure that all of those needs are met, and you're also looking forward to what the next 30 or 40 years of medical education will be, because the future is always different than the current day, and you want to make sure you're serving that future.
You have to give us some insight here, and this is kind of intriguing to me. Obviously, you're going to need classrooms and things like that for the students. But for medical school, it seems like you're going to need laboratories and microscopes, and you're kind of combining, I suppose, mock operating rooms and et cetera, incorporating all of that. Seems like it would be a difficult task to figure out. So
it is. It's very unique, and beyond what you would consider traditional classrooms, there's a whole component of medical simulation where you have kind of mock sessions where you learn about how to treat patients in medical emergencies. You have anatomy. We are going with a program of comprehensive anatomy, both virtual, where you're using computer-based models, but also not live, but cadaver-based anatomy.
Well, it's part of the education, right?
Absolutely. So these are very unique, and again, you're really looking to build a holistic medical professional in this process. So it's very varied and very comprehensive.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's really exciting. David, real quickly, time frame. When do we think the complex will be built out to your standard?
Great question. Our goal is to start construction in the spring of 2021. So we're in the planning process now, and there's planning and design and permits. And then ideally we would open sometime perhaps late 2022 or first half of 2023.
So once it gets going, it's going to happen fairly rapidly then.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
Councilman, you're hoping that at the end of the day, what would be a home run for you as far as this whole project, the medical district? Obviously, UNLV's medical school being there is going to be a key component, but to see it reach your vision completely, what else needs to happen there?
So, I'm excited to talk about that at the next Access City Council, because I think I'm going to have our public works staff come on and talk about the amazing amount of investment they're putting into that area. If anybody's driven in that area, they'll notice that it's a little run down. It's a little dilapidated. It's decades old.
It's an older part of town, yeah.
It's an older part of town. The Public Works Department here at the City of Las Vegas has some amazing plans for that entire area. And I think when you combine what Public Works at the City of Las Vegas is doing with what UNLV is doing in their second campus, I'm excited to share with the community not only what that area will look like, but the opportunities for healthcare and expanding access to quality healthcare for everyone in the entire valley.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff. David, we're running out of time here. I'll give you the final word. Anything else you want to add about the project, something that we should know, something that the viewers out there would really enjoy hearing or understanding?
Well, I think beyond building a new facility to support our medical school, which is what the physical manifestation is, really the core premise here is expanding the access and the quality of healthcare in the Valley. The recruitment of our students has been very much based on folks who are part of Nevada,
Great point.
have a future in Nevada. We want to retain the folks we train and really help this industry flourish and access for our citizens. So the building will be taking into account components like that as well.
You know, it's funny, David, you mentioned that's a great point, because the first class at UNLV, first medical school class, had their tuition paid for with the understanding that they would stay in Nevada and practice in Nevada. So keeping them here, keeping all this talent here is going to be key to this as well. So, boy, fascinating discussion. Thank you so much for being on the program. Best of luck. Have to have him back in the future with an update on how things are going. Love to hear about it. So,
absolutely.
David, thanks so much. Stay there. We're going to take another quick break. You're going to get to meet our new Ward 1 Planning Commissioner and also one of the members of the Senior Citizen Advisory Committee. They're key to keeping Ward 1 running smoothly. That's next, so please stay with us.
When they test you, stand firm and move only when you hear the seatbelt click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Welcome back once again. Ward 1 is a busy ward, and it takes a lot of people working together to make things run smoothly. With us today is Kathleen Bienenstein and Mr. Jeff Rogan. Both are newly appointed to join the Ward 1 team. Jeff is on the Planning Commission. He's our new Ward 1 Planning Commissioner. And Kathleen, you are serving on the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. Important jobs. Councilman, you have to tell us why Jeff, why Kathleen?
Yeah, well, one of the commitments I made on the campaign was that I would surround myself with the smartest and best people I know, because this is it's a big job, and I really can't make all the decisions myself. I really kind of have to rely on people who know what they're doing. I met Jeff several years ago. He lives near me, and I saw him work with the city on a variety of land use and planning issues. Jeff's an attorney by trade. He has a skill set that I don't have, and so I need to rely on people who have skills that I don't have, and Jeff really demonstrated an understanding of the city code, and especially the land use and planning, which is so important to Ward 1, especially because we live in that older part of town, and there's a variety of development coming, especially with the medical district.
Confluence of everything, yeah.
And like we talked about earlier, the confluence of poverty and wealth, it requires a deep understanding of how to create some consistency in the neighborhood, but also meet the demands and the needs of our neighbors.
Yeah, very good. We'll talk about Jeff a little, and then we'll slide over and we'll get to talk a little bit about Kathleen as well. So, Jeff Rogan, people are going to see on the Planning Commission meetings. We televise those. It's important because often that's a precursor to what comes to council, or many times the final decisions are made at the Planning Commission level. It's an important role as far as figuring out the zoning and planning for our city.
Right, and people care very deeply about the kinds of businesses that are appearing on the peripheries of their neighborhoods.
Exactly.
And when people want to build within their own neighborhoods, whether it comports with the design of homes or buildings that are nearby. So it's very emotional, as well as a rational thought process that goes into deciding whether something fits within our city.
Yeah, and we've talked about this so many times. It's that balance of finding what is going to be progressive in the community and new, but at the same time preserving the neighborhoods that are already there, so that they're not all of a sudden having to face a whole new set of issues that they've never had to deal with. So it's that fine balance, isn't it?
Correct, and that's very difficult, finding that balance between what the neighborhood wants, what a business person wants when they're interested in developing in Ward 1 or in other parts of the city, and hopefully trying to find consensus if you possibly can. And sometimes you can't, and you have to make that tough decision to say yes or no to one or both of the parties.
Certainly, your legal background come in very handy in that role, no question about it.
For sure,
So,
yes.
And you guys make, I think, a whopping $80 a meeting or something like that. So you're doing it out of a spirit of volunteerism, not for the pay. That's for sure. It doesn't pay very much at all.
I haven't received my first paycheck
yet. Right. It's a lot of meetings and a lot of community input. So it's an important role with. Because you're doing it really for the love of the community.
I'm very happy to do it.
Yeah, that's the part of it. Great to meet you here, Jeff, and have you on the show. Let's talk about Kathleen. Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, a very important role as far as shaping what comes next for the city of Las Vegas, isn't it?
Yeah, and David, Kathleen approached me. I was having coffee at the coffee pub, and she came up to me and she said, I'm the right person for this panel. And she talked about her experience not only in Nevada, but in other parts of the country as well, serving in a variety of functions and roles. But she cared about this community, and she cared specifically about our seniors in Ward 1. There's a lot of seniors in Ward 1. There's a lot of seniors who are struggling with housing, struggling with transportation, struggling with health care. We have a lot of work to do in Ward 1, and I'm very, very happy to have Kathleen by my side as we learn about how we can have the greatest impact on that population within the ward.
Kathleen, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much. Sounds like this is a passion of yours.
It is. Being a senior citizen, helps. But I've been in Ward 1 for 9 years now, and there's a lot of concern on safety for the elderly. Many people do not drive, and they have to use the bus system. So there's a concern with that and how the routes are and how we can work together. Also, the committee is working on guardianship issues, and elder abuse is a big concern.
Very key, yeah.
Especially when there's no medical care immediately, and that senior might be all alone in that apartment, and they don't know where to go. And a family member may come in and keep you from visiting.
Kathleen, it's something you touched on. I know that we have a lot of seniors that have moved to Las Vegas at the latter part of their lives to retire here for whatever reason. That makes it a little tough to kind of navigate. You're kind of in a new city, and things are different maybe than from where you came from. And I think the idea of trying to bridge that knowledge gap, if you're fairly new here, even 9 years in, is key, isn't it?
It is, and the key is the information, getting the information. Everything is out there. We just have to get it to the senior so they know how to navigate around. And that's what I like about the councilman. He is very interested in making sure the seniors get the information that they need.
That he is. So, well, it looks like, Councilman, you've got some good selections here for these various committees, important roles at the City of Las Vegas, no question. Again, you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart because this is a volunteer job that you're in. So.
I didn't know about the $80 a meeting. So.
Yeah, hey,
Kathleen, we got to figure out that. We got to get you $80 a meeting at least.
The planning commissioners, they get a whopping $80 a meeting. So they're in it for the cash, no question. So Jeff, in his role as an attorney, he's charging more than $80 for 5 hours at a meeting. I can tell you that right now. So thank you, Jeff. Thanks for doing what you do. And Kathleen, great points to you as well. Like you say, the information is out there, and that's where my office comes in. We got to help you make sure that we get that information to where it needs to be as well. So no question.
And David, it's a diverse ward, and so I think it would be unfair for me to say I represent everybody. While I am the elected representative, it's my job to make sure that the people I surround myself with represent as many people as we possibly can.
Great point.
And so I'm really grateful. In our last show, we had the staff that are on Ward 1, which is Kimberly and Dorian, who are also part of the Ward 1 team. And so that's what I really want to make sure people in Ward 1 understand is there's a gaggle of us, that are responsible for representing the rich and the poor, the young and the old, and those people who really need our city to protect them. And I'm grateful to have Jeff and Kathleen and Dorian and Kim, and I'm sure on the next show I'll find more people to help me. It takes an army.
It does. It really does. And with that attitude and that outlook, you can't help but be successful. That's for sure. So, Kathleen, Jeff, great to have you on the program. Best of luck in your new roles.
Thank you very much.
Councilman, we'll have you back here shortly. In another 6 weeks will go by really quick. But hey, in the meantime, we always want to hear from you. So if you have something you'd like to share with Councilman Knudsen, you can always find him on Facebook and Twitter. And if you leave a comment, we could use one of your posts on our next show. We'd love to hear from you. You can also contact the councilman just by picking up the phone, 702-229-6405, or you can send him an email. His address is bknudsen@lasvegasnevada.gov. And I promise you that he or someone in his staff will get right back to you. So, again, everyone, thank you so much for being on the show. Councilman, we'll see you in 6 weeks.
Thank you so much.
Good job.
Thank you.
And we want to thank you for joining us for this edition of Access City Council. Don't miss our next show beginning on September 5th with Ward 3 City Councilwoman Olivia Diaz. You can catch all of our KCLV shows on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget, you can watch us live on the internet at kclv.tv. We'll see you next time, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us.